Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to show you how to replace the alternator from this Audi A6. Before doing that, you have to consider that this is a long process. You gotta remove everything in front of the serpentine belt, because once you release the serpentine belt from the alternator, it's gonna be very difficult to put it back, since you gotta apply tension on this and you need a lot of working space. You gotta remove this fan, which cannot be removed with the radiator in front. So before doing this service, if you confirm that the alternator is bad on your car and you want to invest on your car on this type of Audi, then it's a good idea to get some serpentine belts as well and replace the timing belt as well, because once you remove the radiator, the fan and everything in front of it, you want to do every single job possible around this area. So keep in mind that before doing this job. Now the alternator is a part of the electric system of the car. It will always be in close connection with the car battery. So if, for example, the car battery is weak, cannot hold the charge, it will put extra stress on the alternator, and over time the alternator might go bad, especially the voltage regulator, which is back here, which I'm going to show you in a minute. I already made a video about how to replace the battery on this car, and where I did a voltage drop test. You gotta check it out, it's in the playlist. So with that being said, let's go ahead and remove this alternator, and I'm going to show you how to replace the voltage regulator. I've got a separate video about how to remove the front bumper, the radiator, the fan, which is in front here. I'm going to put the link in the description below so you can check it out. And once you do everything from that video, you got to the point where you can begin to remove this fan. So use a 5mm hex and remove these 4 bolts around. Next, release the tension on the belt. In my situation, I can use an improvisation like a regular plier, which can be used like that, and here it comes, the belt is out. Now in order to fully remove this bolt, you have to actually take out this pulley, and back here you've got a 8mm bolt which will release the pulley. It's basically a 8mm hex. So this is a full reason that you have to remove the front bumper, the fan, the radiator, which is in front of the serpentine belt, in order to replace the alternator, because otherwise you cannot remove this bolt. It's impossible to remove it. Even though you loosen it, it will not come all the way out, because this is a long bolt. It goes all the way down here, so it's like a 15 centimeters, 20 centimeters bolt almost. So this is my setup. I've got here the torque bit, 8mm hex, and the torque bit holder, adapter, and this ratchet. So let's see. So you need this adaptive flexible ratchet. So you gotta find a way to hold the pulley secured. I'm gonna use this plier, and hopefully this will be enough. Ah man, that's not enough. So if you look from the side like that, you're gonna see that the pulley has a bunch of holes around. So for example, there is a hole down here. You gotta put something through these indentations, and that's how you can hold on the pulley while you open the bolt from the back. Alright, so finally I've got a plier which actually broke. This was the tooth of the plier, as you can see. So expect that bolt to be very tight. Now it's loosened finally, and this was my setup. I was holding with my leg like that. Right, the pulley must come out also. Here it comes. Now we get full access to the alternator with the same 8mm hex. We gotta remove this bolt from here. Let's say you get access to this bolt, but the bolt won't come out. As you can see, there's not enough space in here. So removing this pulley is essential for this job. And from down here, just like that. Just back here you've got a couple of more connectors. There is the 12-volt supply, so just pop off the connector like that, and then you've got the 12-volt output. Before working on the alternator, it's a good idea to disconnect the negative terminal of the car battery. Alright, so here it comes. Now on the back of the alternator you've got this black cover. You gotta use a 7mm socket and release these bolts. Once these two are out, the cover will come out as well, and it will reveal the voltage regulator. which again is held on by 3 bolts. But before that, you can take out this cover and inspect the pins. You've got down there 2 pins, which, long story short, they will deliver a little bit of 12 volts to the axle, and that's how the alternator is producing 12 volts. It will basically increase the current of those 12 volts into a higher amperage, and that's how it will charge your battery. You are interested to see if those pins are making contact with the axle of the alternator. As you can see, when you spin the alternator, those pins will always be pushed against the axle, so that connection has to be continuously in order to produce that 12 volts for your battery. In order to fully inspect those, you gotta take out the voltage regulator, so use the same 7mm socket. And by the way, this job can be done with the alternator on. You just have to remove the intake manifold, which is a much easier process than removing the front bumper with the radiator and so on. So you might consider doing this inspection first, since it's much easier and it might solve your problem, especially if the alternator is old. You're gonna see those pins pop off, right? And even if you buy a new one pin is gonna be shorter than the other, in order to warn you that the voltage regulator is on the way to warm up completely, because if all of them will be equal, then both of them will go off in the same time and you've got no charging on your car. So in that way, you will always have one pin which will still deliver the 12 volts. So in that way, you have time to service your car before running out of the material on these pins. It's always a good idea to inspect the part first before ordering a new one. So in that way, you know that you ordered the correct part and you know for sure that you really need that part. Of course, if you buy a new alternator, it will come with a new voltage regulator and you don't need to worry about that. Alright. Now, to install the alternator back, you gotta connect first the cables. Now you gotta put some thread locker on this bolt, because if this bolt is loosened, you've got big problems on your engine. And the pulley spins nice. From this point, depending on what you're gonna do, you can go ahead and reinstall everything back or do other service. So that was pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I will try to answer to all of them. Also check out the playlist with all the videos I made about this car. And until next time, drive safe so I can see you soon.